Hey, it's Kurt at the Top Corner Hockey Studios, Top Corner Hockey on Facebook, Top Corner Kurt on Instagram. Thanks for watching. This is the third episode of Defunct NHL Teams on Top Corner Hockey. First episode, we looked at the Montreal Wanderers. Last time, we looked at the Ottawa Senators. Unlike the Montreal Wanderers, who were gone for good in 1918, the Ottawa Senators, when they moved along and passed away, I suppose, in hockey realms, they didn't die right away. Remember, the Ottawa Senators were a great team. They had wonderful success, but they were a small market club, began losing money, and they began selling players, especially King Clancy to the Maple Leafs in 1930. They took a year off from 1931 to 1932, and then came back for 2 seasons, and then folded in Ottawa, but they didn't go away completely, no. The Ottawa Senators moved on to St. Louis, and that's who we'll look at today on Defunct NHL Teams. Despite the best early history in hockey, the Ottawa Senators were bleeding money. Ottawa owners could not survive in their small market, especially during the Great Depression. On September 22, 1934, the NHL Board of Governors allowed Ottawa to move to St. Louis. 2 years earlier, Ottawa had asked the same thing, but was rejected due to high travel costs, so Ottawa simply suspended operations. Additionally, St. Louis already had a hockey team, the Flyers, played in the American Hockey Association, and there was an agreement between the AMA and the NHL that the latter would not place clubs west of the Mississippi. However, when the Senators moved to St. Louis and became the Eagles, the AMA never took the matter to court. The same poor team that failed in Ottawa was iced in St. Louis to start the 1934 season. Because of this, the team was not successful at the rink, and predictably, few people came to watch a losing team. Just a month into their first season, the St. Louis Eagles were 2-11 and were already selling players to make up their financial losses. The Eagles finished the season in last place with only 11 wins. At the annual spring meetings, St. Louis asked the NHL governors if they could suspend operations for a year, like they had done 3 years ago in Ottawa. The NHL governors decided to buy out the Eagles and terminate the franchise. With just one season, there's not a whole lot of history to the St. Louis Eagles. I thought it was interesting how the Ottawa Senators franchise continued and went to St. Louis and became the first NHL team west of the Mississippi. One other interesting note about the St. Louis Eagles was Earl Roche was the first player to score for the St. Louis Eagles. He scored in a game against Chicago, which the Eagles lost, but who assisted on that goal was Ralph Scotty Bowman. That's right, Scotty Bowman, the legendary coach of the Montreal Canadiens, Hall of Famer, Detroit Red Wings head coach. But yeah, Scotty Bowman getting an assist on the first St. Louis Eagles goal in 1934. Pretty interesting stuff. With 100 years of NHL history and more than 20 teams finding their way to the NHL scrap heap over the years, there's lots to discuss on Defunct NHL Teams on Top Corner Hockey. Please continue to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for episode 4 coming up soon on Defunct NHL Teams. I'm Kurt, this is Top Corner Hockey. Thanks for watching, see you next time.